Hi there guys, welcome to a brief two-wheel reviews tutorial. BMW K1100 changing the fuel filter. Bit different to most bikes in that this is a pressurized fuel injection system. The Bosch system, I believe it is off the top of my head, on most of the machines. And in all of the K series bikes, the fuel filter is a little metal fella like this one here, and it lives inside the fuel tank itself. So I'll just show you the procedure. Okay, the first thing you need to do is remove the fuel filler cap assembly, the whole assembly, so you can get your hand inside the tank and undo it. You wouldn't think it'd be big enough, but it's surprising once the whole assembly is off you can actually get your hand inside there. So you undo your key cap with your key. Inside you've got 4 little crosshead screws, there and there. And you need to unscrew these to lift the whole assembly off. As you can see, these have already been removed on mine. And just to show you one of the screws there, it's a little stubby thing like so, just holds the cap in place. So crosshead screwdriver to open those. Use a good fitting screwdriver because this area is prone to collecting water, so you might get a bit of corrosion on the screw heads or what have you. Use a good fitting screwdriver. If it does fit well, try to open them carefully until you just break the seal there. If it's not looking like it's going anywhere, a good technique, something I had to do with this myself, is place the screwdriver in, and while you're applying a bit of downward and anti-clockwise pressure, tap the top gently with a hammer while you're doing that, and eventually it should just break the seal and break free. In an extreme case scenario where it wouldn't do that, you would actually have to drill out the head, which is not as disastrous as it sounds. Just make sure that you put a bit of rag in the filler area there to stop any swarf getting into the tank itself. Okay, once those screws are off, the entire assembly just lifts clean away like so. Check your sealing gasket there for any obvious problems, and apart from a bit of general crud that you find on these things, that one's okay. And give the mating surface a bit of a clean up as well. Inside the tank, you can just see there this pipe. That's where the front of the fuel filter, this bit here, connects to, and then the rear one is on a flexible pipe which loops up and then right the way around and over. The good thing about this comes from the fuel pump which pushes it through there, and the good thing about this is it gives you enough flexibility to lift the whole assembly out. So you undo this one first, slide the clamp off, pull it off, get your hand inside, pull it off, lift it up out of the tank there, and then you can get to the clamp bolt on the rear and unbolt that. The new pump, this one's actually the new one waiting to go in, but just to give you an idea, the new pump will come in a box something like this, and it will look something like this, with a sealing cap on the outlet end, possibly on both ends, and it's literally just a swap and replace procedure. So you replace this small bit of pipe first and foremost, tighten up the pinch bolt, put this on the flexible pipe that's coming out of here that you can see just there, and then you feed it back in, feed onto the pipe just down there that you see, clamp the bolt up tight, make sure they're all tight, and at that point you can switch the bike on, pressurise the system and start it up. So I'll just go ahead and fit that. Okay, just to quickly show you this is the pump in its final place. What you can't see is the pipe at the back which loops up and over and goes to the fuel pump down there, which is that grey, sort of grey-brown lump sat down there, and that feeds up through there into the filter, out through there and into the feed tube, and then obviously this tube runs up here which is tacked to the bottom of the tank, and that feeds the injector system. As you can see, the clamp is positioned in such a manner that you can get a longish straight blade screwdriver in and tighten that up. Okay, so there's the whole thing tightened up and ready to go and ready to test. It's all tightened in place. Just a quick note, although this might be stating the obvious, make sure that the joints on the high pressure fuel line connections are nice and snug. I'll just reiterate again, this is a pressurised fuel injection system, so for those people who are used to working on carburetted bikes with pump systems or gravity fed systems like myself, this is the first fuel injection bike I've ever had, then obviously it's more important in this case, because the fuel's being forced through under pressure. It's more important to make sure that these connections are good and snug, otherwise when you test it you'll get a face full of fuel and obviously subsequent problems. One thing I forgot to mention as well, again it should be relatively obvious, you have to wait until the tank is almost empty, essentially until the actual filter unit itself is clear, which you can see when you open the filler cap. Now in this case I'd done about 155 miles since the tank was filled to the brim there. I typically get about 160-170 miles out of the tank before the low fuel light starts flashing like crazy at me. Okay, I don't know if you heard that noise there, but I'll just do that again. When you move the kill switch or switch on the ignition, depending on whether you use the kill switch or not, you'll get this noise. That's the fuel pump priming, and next thing we want to try is firing up. It's looking good. Okay guys, I hope you found that useful, and thanks for watching. Okay, just a couple of quick afterthoughts. Something I keep telling myself time and time again: don't leave things sitting on your seat like so, because when you start your engine the vibration makes them fall off. I keep telling myself that, I haven't got the message through yet, but there you go. And I don't know if it's considered de rigueur for this kind of thing, but I'm going to put a little dab of copper grease on the screws that hold the cap in place to avoid the sort of the stiff thread thing the next time around, because it's going to be a good few thousand miles before I change this again. So and as it's sealed in by the cap, the screws can't actually work loose and go anywhere, so hopefully. There you go. Any thoughts or comments on that, feel free to say. Thanks, bye now.